Welcome to the Four Rooms podcast, where we explore the four rooms of entrepreneurship: health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each episode is dedicated to opening new doors and uncovering insights that empower you to design your entrepreneurial journey to be both lucrative and fulfilling. And now, your hosts, Amber Spears and Brett Kaufman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Four Rooms podcast. I am joined with a good friend of mine, Mr. James Swanwick. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Brett. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for squeezing us in on this book tour that you are doing. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So how long is this tour?
2 weeks. So a week in Austin and a week in Los Angeles, and then lots of virtual podcast interviews in between.
Man, you gotta be tired, but good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I don't like being away from my family now. Another phase of life, an earlier phase of life, I would have loved hitting the road like this. And I do enjoy it, but not as much as actually just being home and being present with family now. But I decided that 2 weeks of traveling in some pretty cool places and catching up with some other cool people and being interviewed about how to help entrepreneurs quit drinking is a very small price to pay.
Doesn't sound so bad, does it?
No.
What inspired, because I know your story and I'm excited to share your story with people here, but what inspired specifically the book?
I haven't drunk alcohol since 2010. I was a socially acceptable drinker, and that I had 2 or 3 drinks most nights of the week. I was never an alcoholic. I never got arrested. I didn't get a DUI, but I realized after 18 years of drinking that even a drink or two, seemingly innocent drink or two, was definitely compromising my clarity, focus, energy, my sleep, compromising my health. And I created an organization to help people stop drinking because I stopped drinking myself in 2010. And I have a coaching program, a high-ticket coaching program that helps executives and entrepreneurs and physicians and realtors and attorneys to stop drinking. And then people kept asking me for a book. So I've spent the last year writing the book. It comes out April 8th. And it's really a neuroscience-based way to help people stop drinking. It's not AA, it's not rehab, it's not willpower. It's a very simple, logical, neuroscience-based way to help people quit and stay quit.
Yeah. And one thing I enjoy as I gotten to know you over time is we're in 2 different communities together. This one being one, then shout out to our boy Jeremy. And I remember when I first heard what you do, I was like, is that really is there a market for that? And obviously just seeing you just do incredible things with your business and showing you how dedicated and serious you are to getting to the goals you are and impacting so many lives, I just want to give you a big shout out for that because you are really helping so many people.
Oh, thank you, Brett. I appreciate that. Someone said to me not long ago that I've reached entrepreneurial utopia. And I said, what is that? And he described it as building a business where you can create generational positive impact in people's lives. And my friend said to me, think about it. A supplement company can't really do that. The president of the United States can't create generational positive impact. A judge, a fireman, a police officer. But if you can successfully help someone get off drugs, including alcohol, the impact that makes in that person's life and their family and their loved ones and their colleagues and their friends is like this ripple effect. You just one change all of a sudden spreads out over generations. And so to have very, very happy clients thank me for helping them transform their life and their children's lives and get paid for it, that's what he submitted was entrepreneurial utopia. And it was hard to challenge that.
And it's well deserved. So, and I know you get this all the time on your calls. What if someone's like, what's the harm in being a social drinker, a casual drinker?
Well, there might not be any harm at all if you're having 1 drink a month or a drink on a quote-unquote special occasion. The challenge is that most people find that is a very slippery slope, and that even if they moderate their drinking, pretty soon they end up drinking most nights of the week, if not every night of the week. And so while an occasional drink here or there is definitely not going to create lifelong negative consequences, it's the ongoing drinking, a drink every night of the week, just 1 standard drink or 7 standard drinks a week is enough to destroy white and grey matter in the brain. That's according to a 2022 study that came out of 35,000 middle-aged British adults. So that headline there really is one drink a night is enough to create some level of brain degeneration. That should be frightening for everyone, particularly entrepreneurs who rely on their clarity and focus and energy and their strategizing to really create deep impact in their business and therefore their clients' and customers' lives.
Yeah. And I didn't realize the impact of just like one drink. Because like you said, it's harmless. It's one drink, but you don't know what's really happening. So it's no longer harmless. It's a good point.
I call it death by 1,000 cuts. You don't realize the seriousness of your seemingly innocent drinking in the moment necessarily. But over weeks, months, years, and ultimately decades, the cumulative impact of drinking a glass of attractively packaged poison each night really does add up. For me, after 18 years of drinking, I was probably about 30, 35 pounds overweight. I was tired, I was irritable, I had bags under my eyes. I felt like I was operating at about a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I wasn't rock bottom, I wasn't an alcoholic, wasn't waking up in a ditch, but I was just drifting, just mediocre. And I always say this to our entrepreneurial clients who go through our 90-day stop drinking program, which is called Project 90. I say the difference between operating at a 6 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10 financially can mean millions of dollars in your business. Saving a marriage, obviously divorce is very expensive. But more importantly than that, it can have you reconnect with your children, reconnect with your husband or wife or loved one, reconnect with your friends and family. A lot of our clients come to us and yes, they have pain from drinking, like the hangovers and the tired and the fatigue, but the biggest pain is their kids don't want to spend time with them. Their husband or wife or loved one wants to leave them or is concerned. A lot of times causing dire health consequences to oneself isn't enough motivation to get people to quit. But if your kids don't want to spend time with you, wow, that's a big motivating factor. And for those entrepreneurs who are more financially motivated, it's pretty frightening when you realize that when you add up thinking about drinking, recovering from drinking, lamenting the drinking, then thinking about drinking, preparing for drinking, then lamenting the drinking, and so forth, that's a big energy suck, which could be redirected into creating another revenue stream, being more profitable, making an additional sales call at the end of the day, firing someone, hiring someone, not procrastinating. So there are many, many reasons why going alcohol-free and choosing an alcohol-free lifestyle, as I have and our clients have, can be profoundly impactful for people.
100%. And you said something that caught my attention because you're like, the person may not be at rock bottom. They could just be drifting. So it's that awareness point because the person may be like, I hear you, James, but I'm not there yet. But then like you were saying, you think about the impact that you just being where you're at 6 out of 10. That's a really good way of phrasing it.
I go to many masterminds, including your excellent mastermind, the 4 Rooms, which is fantastic. And I just quietly observe. And what I've noticed over the years is less and less people are drinking alcohol, which I think is terrific. And those who I see drinking alcohol, I see them the following day and they either are a little late to show up to the first session, or if they do show up on time, they're kind of like dragging their ass, so to speak, or they're kind of looking at you funny going, oh yeah, I had a few drinks last night, or I didn't sleep too great last night. And then they're just pushing through the day, pushing through. And so they're not as present. They're a little bit more irritable. They're very tired. And then that leads to poor dietary choices, which means that now they're now eating sugary substances or eating some chocolate or having some sugary drinks to give them a bit of an energy boost. And then they're just waiting for 5, 6 o'clock to come around where they can then drink alcohol to try to give themselves another energy boost. And then that compromises their sleep and then they get stuck on this vicious cycle. So I learned many years ago that when I go to these events, which are often 3-day events, I like to sleep well, consider myself a professional sleeper, and drink alcohol-free alternatives, drink soda water, get a good night's sleep, get up, get in the gym in the hotel in the morning, get showered, and then get into that first session of a mastermind session or a conference. man, I feel present, I feel great, I feel energized, and I can really get the benefit of those conferences and masterminds.
Yeah, and I want to dive into the book in a second, but this is something that I also, um, I don't, I'm not, I'm grateful I'm not a big drinker. I just never, like post college, never really just, I don't like the taste of it. And when I went to events, I felt that stigma of like, oh, I'm the one not drinking. Am I the weird one? Am I the outcast? But also, there's so many like good, healthy mocktails now that you can get at a bar, which also helps you too. You don't like need to feel like you need to be drinking to fit in. There's a lot of great alternatives. Um, but in your book, you were talking about different ways like how your brain is wired to help you do this. Can you walk us through some of what you teach in the book?
Yeah, so I'm not here to hypnotize the reader into stopping drinking alcohol. I'm there to dehypnotize them regarding alcohol in general, because a lot of us bow down at the altar of alcohol and we think it's this such amazing thing that we need in order to create connection or romance or to bond with people. And it's a complete fallacy.
Yeah.
The reality is that, in my experience, you can create romance and network and bond without the attractively packaged poison. It's just that we're using it as a crutch. We're using it to feel confident. We're using it to loosen up. We're using it to bring people together. And there are smiling assassins all around us as this is happening. And in the book, I refer to a smiling assassin as anyone who's smiling as they offer you a drink. It's the waiter or the waitress who says, "Hi, Brett, can I get you a drink?" They're effectively saying, "Hi, Brett, can I get you a poor night's sleep? Can I get you 10 pounds of unwanted body fat? Can I get you some feelings of mediocrity?" It's the host of the party who's being very hospitable and nice and generous by saying, "Oh, hi, Brett, can I get you a drink? We've got wine, we've got beer, we've got vodka. What can I get you?" And they're well intentioned,
Sure.
but the reality is they're still offering you a bad night's sleep, irritability, feelings of mediocrity, unwanted calories, and a lot of strain, marriage strain, not being present with children. So what I do in the book and what I outline is ways to knock alcohol off its pedestal, to stop worshipping it, to stop deeming it worthy of being referred to as a special occasion. The special occasion is every day that you are alcohol free, when you have clarity and focus and energy and you're well slept and you're doing personal development and you're practicing conscious communication and you respond instead of react and you're living a life of appreciation instead of expectation. That's the special occasion, every moment of every day, as opposed to these special occasions that we refer to where we must drink attractively packaged poison. Because make no mistake, alcohol is just straight toxins. That's all it is. And we put it in a very fancy, attractive bottle and we call it socially acceptable alcohol. So a lot of what I do in the book, which is called Clear, is to dehypnotize people about alcohol and its position in their life.
So, in your 90 Day to Freedom program, especially the person that comes in with like, all right, I'm at that 6 out of 10. I'm not there yet, but like, I know I need to do something. What are the steps? Because you said it's like, this is different than AA. It's different than other programs out there. Like, how do you help someone go alcohol-free in 90 days?
We help people to choose a lifestyle as opposed to saying no to alcohol. So when we say no to something, like don't drink, I need to stop, I've got to be sober, I shouldn't drink, the reticular activating in our, the reticular activating system, which is a bundle of nerves in our brain, doesn't hear the don't and the no. It only hears the thing that you're telling it not to do. And after studying the brain and a lot of research papers and studies, what they have found, or the experts have found, is that it's a lot easier to do something when you tell yourself what to do versus telling yourself what not to do. Yeah. So in AA, which by the way has less than a 10% long-term success rate, which means it has a 90% long-term failure rate.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's horrendous. There are so many reported studies now that show that being generous, it's about a 7% success rate as you gauge success over the course of a year. It's one of actually the worst success rates in all of medicine. Having said that, it has helped tens of millions of people, no question, because it's been around 90 years. It was formed in 1935, but it's also failed 10 times as many people. It's been ineffective, I think, is a better way of saying that. Probably too much to say it's failed, but it's been ineffective for 93% of folks who attempted. The reason why I submit that's so ineffective is because they're saying you're powerless over this disease. You have to walk in and say, "Hi, I'm Brett and I'm an alcoholic," even though The term alcoholic does not even exist in modern medical literature. The term used today is alcohol use disorder. There are now millions of people walking around the earth mistakenly believing that they are an alcoholic, which keeps them stuck in an identity, as opposed to what we do in our Project 90 program, which is using neuroscience, which is we're choosing a lifestyle. We're choosing to focus on our sleep, to practice gratitude, to get morning sunlight, to go for a walk out in nature, to create a like-minded community, to respond instead of react. We're looking at holistic ways to reduce stress and anxiety. We're rewiring our mindset around the place that alcohol has in our life. We're now choosing to have the most fun being alcohol free as opposed to, I need to stop, I have to stop. And because of that, we have a 98% success rate. The University of Washington conducted a scientific study on our Project 90 Stop Drinking process in 2023, and the result was a 98% reduction in drinking amongst the study participants. And one of the world's top addiction experts, whose name is Professor David Bellin out of Cambridge University in the UK, described those study results as groundbreaking. So we feel that creating a like-minded community, not a community, but a like-minded community of other high achievers, of entrepreneurs, executives, physicians, realtors, investors, attorneys, being in that community, like what you would find at a Four Rooms Mastermind, creates accountability, which leads to allies being created, camaraderie. That really supports someone to be able to not just quit drinking, but stay quit from drinking.
Yes, that community aspect is so huge. I see other people at or above their level. They feel supported. I love that. But let's say I'm in your program. I'm so grateful for the online. I happen to live somewhere where there's not a lot of locals there. And I go back to my current group and they want to go drinking. They're respectful of where I'm at. And I still want to be able to hang out with them. Like, how do you help people in that regard?
I say show up and have the most fun out of all your friends. Don't be judging them for drinking. Don't allow them to judge you for not drinking. It doesn't matter what you say about you not drinking. It more matters how you say it. There's a lot of studies on influence, and what they've found is that influencing someone is only 7% what you say and 93% how you say it. So you can give the best logical argument in the world, but if your tonality and body language is not influential, or it's down, or it's regretful, or it's hanging your head in shame, or it's not impactful, what was the point of those 7% words? And so what I do is I teach folks and our clients to run towards social occasions where there is alcohol and love being alcohol free. Wear it as a badge of honor. Be confident, be happy, be lighthearted and playful. When someone says, come on, just have a drink, you say, yeah, okay, great. I'll do a shot of this soda water and you have a shot of the vodka. I will go drink for drink with you tonight while I drink this soda water. Ha, ha, ha. And just mock yourself, make fun, be lighthearted about it. Nobody really cares if you drink or not. They just care that you're pleasant and fun to be around. So as long as you are not showing up going, oh, I wish I could drink. Oh, I'd love to have a drink, but I can't. As long as you're not doing that, then nobody really cares. And the thing is, when you do that, when you show up and you go, oh, I wish I could drink, but I can't, you're reinforcing this societal notion that not drinking equals pain and drinking equals pleasure. But I submit it's the other way around. Not drinking is the pleasure and drinking is the pain.
That is so well said, because it's like you're the way I'm also interpreting it too. It's like you're reminding the person of like they're awesome. Your friends want to hang out with you. It's not that you guys are drinking; just share a thing you're doing. But you're awesome. Show up, be awesome, and then that's how you have a great time. So, damn, what a great reframe. That's awesome.
Thank you. I see it a lot in entrepreneurs as well. Like they worry that they can't do a deal, they won't be able to network, they won't be able to make a connection unless they're holding their glass of attractively packaged poison. But those who've been willing to take a leap of faith and learn the way to quit and stay quit, we help them with scripts to say in those social situations. We help them how to stay calm and relaxed, even if you're an introvert. And traditionally, maybe you've thought that you've required a drink to calm your nerves. We show them how to calm their nerves anyway without drinking the alcohol. And a lot of folks because of that, especially entrepreneurs, have 3x, 4x their business over the course of a year, 18 months, just because of the clarity, the focus, the energy, the calm home life. Their marriage is now feeling good. Their relationship with their kids is feeling good. They're well slept. They're energized. They're making good decisions, not out of fear, but out of confidence. And what else could you want as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. And that's something the person has to have such self-awareness to be like, this may not be a big problem yet. It could be a big problem. Let me address it. And it's also, I can also see them being like, how do I quantify how much better my life's going to be? But it's the trust with people like you. And like you said, you hear all the stories and you're like, wow, 6 months or 3 months, and beyond, you're like, my life is exponentially better.
Yes. There's a massive ROI that an entrepreneur can generate from simply giving up alcohol. If an entrepreneur is operating at a 6 out of 10, maybe they make $1 million revenue in their business, but they're tired, they're irritable, they don't make that additional call. Maybe they don't show up to that additional mastermind, or they go out and they drink one night and they miss the first session of a conference day one morning and they miss this one piece of information that could propel their business forward, or they don't make a connection over breakfast with another entrepreneur because they're sleeping in and they're tired and they're irritable, or they don't make as good of an impression upon others as they could have because they're tired and operating at a 6 out of 10. Whereas the entrepreneur who's well slept, wakes up, exercises, practices appreciation, shows up on time, is present with prospective clients or joint venture collaborators, that person is now operating at, I would submit, an 8 or a 9 out of 10. The difference in that person could mean $100,000, $500,000, $1 million over the course of months, years. And that is like compound interest. So the longer that you remain alcohol free, the longer that you are well slept and calm and you respond instead of react and you make good strategic choices, the greater the impact you're going to make in your business and the greater impact you're going to make on your loved ones' lives.
And it makes so much sense just because the high achievers are always doing mindset work. They're visualizing the person they want to be. And they're like, oh, I want to be the healthiest. I want to sleep the best so they can operate the best. Well, great. You're removing the poison out of your life so you will operate the best. It just falls right in line with all the other affirmations and work they're doing on themselves anyways.
Yes, yes.
So I love to, as we transition close to the end of the show, hear about your experience at our events, because like someone like you is the exact person we love having in the room, because you give more than you ever ask for, more than you ever take, and because of that, you're like, things come back to you all the time. So one, just thank you for being with us, and I'd love for you to share your experience.
I went to a 4 Rooms Mastermind event in Orlando, Florida at the end of 2024, and it was magnificent. I met so many incredible people. I actually did 2 joint venture deals as a result of that, which was fantastic. I met people and we connected after the event, and we're now collaborating as JV partners, which was incredible. The level of expertise in the room was remarkable, but most importantly, the willingness of all of the attendees to support me and support others was really incredibly valuable. And so I appreciate you complimenting me for giving. What I found was that I got so many people giving of themselves. And it didn't matter whether we were going to do a formal business deal or not. People were still willing to share their intel, their contacts, their Rolodex, support, guidance. And that I received that over the breakfast. I received it at lunchtime. I received it at nighttime. And it was a very growth-minded, health-conscious crowd, which I really appreciated.
Thank you. It means a lot. Now, as we move to almost the end, we do something which is my favorite part. It's called One Hot Minute. Now, One Hot Minute, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, Mr. Swanwick, and in these 60 seconds, I want you to think of a mantra, a belief, just something that you go to when things can get tough, that like really keeps you going through hard times. And we've talked a lot about that, because the whole idea is if someone just watches this one clip, they're going to get something super powerful. So if you need a second, let me know. If not, we're going to start the clock. We'll let it rip. Go for it.
One of the things I learned at Landmark Education was that all of life is empty and meaningless, which sounds very dark in the beginning, but what it really means to me is that there is no good, there is no bad, there is only what is. And so when a particularly troubling or challenging situation arises, I say to myself, this isn't good, this isn't bad, This is just what is. And I understand that the meaning that I am associating to whatever is happening is all on me. Another way of saying that is that the only thing that's happening is that there's a bunch of stuff happening. And then I have the power to decide whether it's good, bad, an opportunity, or an obstacle. And that's been incredibly empowering, I have to say, because whatever challenge comes up, I'm able to just look at it through a lens of neutrality and then decide the meaning and then take the action accordingly.
Wow. That was powerful and also right on time. Well done on both accounts.
Thank you.
So for someone that wants to learn more about you and your work, where should they go?
Alcoholfreelifestyle.com is where they can find out more about our coaching programs. The book Clear is available wherever online books are sold, or at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/clear. And then I have a pretty engaged social media account on Instagram, which is just my name, at James Swanwick.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me, Brett.
We'll talk soon.
As we wrap up today's episode, we have something special just for you. If you've been inspired by what we've explored today and you're ready to take your learning to the next level, then our 4 Rooms Mastermind live event is the perfect next step. And because you're a part of our podcast family, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your registration when you apply and are accepted. This is your chance. It's your chance to build relationships with other ambitious entrepreneurs like yourself, to dive deeper into the 4 rooms of entrepreneurship, and to connect with experts who can truly help accelerate your growth. Simply follow the event link in the description of this episode and use the promo code 4rooms10. That's FOURROOMS10 on your application to claim this opportunity. This offer is subject to application approval and it's limited, so don't wait too long to make your decision. Join us and transform your journey with the insights and networking that only our live events can offer. Thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you at the event and, of course, right back here next time on the 4 Rooms podcast. Until then, keep balancing and keep growing.